Okay, well, let's look at number 17. Here we're doing something slightly different than we've done previously. Previously we were dividing a trinomial by a binomial, but here we're dividing a trinomial by a monomial, and that comes with its own, it looks easier, but it comes with its own challenges. So let's get into it and see what this problem has in store for us. So step one is to just rewrite it. 2x cubed plus 5x squared plus 24x. And that's our dividend. Okay, so we need to put the division bar over that, and then print our divisor right here, which is 6x cubed. Okay. And so with this problem, what you're trying to think of is, what would you need to multiply by 6x cubed in order to make it be 2x cubed? And you have to start thinking creatively here, because you're trying to turn a 6 into a 2. And how do you do that? Well, the idea here is to take 6 and divide it by 3. And that would certainly turn the 6 into a 2, but we're not going to be using division, so we think about something like this: 6x cubed times 1/3. Okay, that's going to have the same effect as dividing by 3, multiplying by 1/3. So this is the kind of thought process that has to go through your mind. So the first term of our quotient is the fraction 1/3. And we already know that when we multiply 1/3 by 6x cubed, the result, the product, will be 2x cubed. So we just multiply that out to x cubed. There should be no remainder here. This should just cancel out. And then you just kind of bring down the next term, 5x squared. Okay, so now you have the task of turning 6x cubed into 5x squared. This is where I said before, even though dividing by a monomial looks easier than dividing by a binomial, this can be a little complicated. So first we got to figure out how to turn a 6 into a 5. And that'll be interesting. And then we have to figure out how to turn x cubed into x squared. You have to really think about this. So first let's deal with the turning of the 6 into the 5. Now this might seem like black magic, but what if I took the 6 and then I multiplied it by 5, and then I divided by 6? Okay. Here's what I mean. So I take 6, multiply by 5, and I get 30. Right? Then I take that 30, I divide by 6, and I get 5. So that's how I turn a 6 into a 5. You multiply by 5, and then you divide by 6. So if you isolate the multiplication by 5 and division by 6 into just a fraction, you're really multiplying multiplying 6 by 5/6. Okay? So we know we're going to multiply by 5 over 6. Okay. So we figured out how to turn a 6 into a 5. Now we have to figure out how to turn an x cubed into x squared. Well, if we remember our quotient rule for exponents, or the division rule for exponents. If I divide x cubed by x, that's going to be x to the first power. The division rule says that I subtract those exponents, and that will give me x squared, x to the 3 minus 1. So there it is. I'm going to multiply by 5 over 6, and I'm going to divide by x. So let's put all of this into perspective. You're going to take 6x cubed, and you're going to multiply by 5 over 6, and we said divide by x, but that's just another way of saying multiply by 1 over x. So we're going to multiply 6x cubed by 5/6 and then by 1 over x. Well, can't we just combine those together? Can't this just be 5 over 6x? Yeah, indeed, it can. So what I'm really going to do is I'm going to take 6x cubed and multiply by 5 over 6x. Okay? So now that I know that, let's see what we need to do. We need to add 5 over 6x to our quotient. All right? Okay. And when we already know that when we multiply 5 over 6x by 6x cubed, we're going to get 5x squared. Okay. I'll just prove it to you. We have 6x to the third, okay, over 1 times 5 over 6x. All right. These 6's cancel out, and the x to the third divided by x to the first is going to equal x squared, so this is going to give me 5x squared, okay, which is what I wanted. All right, and there's no remainder there. It just cancels out, and we bring down 24x. Okay, so now we have the task of turning 6x cubed into 24x. Well, this is a little bit more straightforward. Turning a 6 into a 24 is easy. We just multiply by 4. Okay, so I know that part of my answer is to multiply by 4. But now I need to turn x cubed into x. So I'm going to need to take x cubed and divide by x squared. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 4 and divide by x squared. Okay, so again, I'm taking 6x to the third power, and I'm going to multiply by 4 over x squared. That's going to give me 6 times 4 times x to the third power over x squared. 6 times 4 is 24, which is what we want. And then x to the third power over x to the second power is going to be x to the 3 minus 2 power, which equals x, which is what we wanted. So the final term of my quotient is going to be 4 over x squared. So that's my whole quotient right there. 1/3 plus 5 over 6x plus 4 over x squared. D. And moving on to number 18. We're going to divide 10r cubed plus 20r squared plus 5r by 10r squared. So the first thing we're going to do is rewrite this thing. 10r cubed plus 20r squared plus 5r. We're going to divide by 10r squared. Okay, so our first task is to turn 10r squared into 10r cubed. Wow, compared to what we just did, this is way easier. We got 10r squared, 10r squared multiplied by r to the first. That will give me 10r raised to the power of 2 plus 1, which is 10r cubed. That's what I want. So all I really need to do is multiply by r to the first power, or just r. So the first term of my quotient is just r. 10r squared times r is 10r cubed. Okay, that leaves no remainder. Bring down 20r squared. So now I want to turn 10r squared into 20r squared. Another easy task, especially compared to the problem we just completed. I'm just going to multiply by 2. That's it. See? So the next term of my quotient, I'm just going to add plus 2. So now 2 times 10r squared is 20r squared. Once again, we have no remainder, and we bring down the 5r. It's a little bit more challenging. I want to turn 10r squared into 5r. So it looks like I need to divide the 10 by 2, and that would give me the 5. So I'm not going to be dividing, though. I need to rewrite that as 10 multiplied by 1/2. So I'm going to be multiplying by half. That's part of it. That will turn the 10 into a 5. Now this r squared into an r business, we have to remember our exponent rules. If I take r squared and I divide by r, okay, that will give me r to the 2 minus 1, which is just r to the first, which is just r. Okay. Now I'm not going to be dividing by r, so instead I'll have r squared multiplied by 1 over r. It's the same thing as division, just multiplying by 1 over the thing you wanted to divide by to begin with. So let's bring it together now. I'm going to take 10r squared. I'm going to multiply it by 1 over 2r. So 1 over 2r is the next term of my quotient, plus 1 over 2r. So r plus 2 plus 1 over 2r. I hope this little journey into polynomial division, where we're dividing a trinomial by a monomial, I hope this shows you that just because there are fewer terms doesn't mean it's easier. Most people, myself included, find dividing by a monomial an infinitely more challenging task than dividing by a binomial, especially when the leading term is something other than a single variable. Right. Anyway, we accomplished it, and I think I'll stop the video there. I hope there aren't any more of those to do, but I was wrong. So when we pick up in the next video, we will continue our expedition into polynomial division, where the divisor is a monomial.